Welcome back to Stocklabs for another market recap. We just finished third week of September, option expiration week, and it was a rough one for markets. In simple terms, basically, we erased everything from the prior week. But more specifically, if we look at the weekly performance. Okay, Qs were down 5.75%, which is about 2% lower than we were up 4% the prior week and then gave up that much plus another 2%. This week, S&P was down 5% this week. That erases its bounce that was taking place. And same thing for IWM and the Dow, both down about 4.3, 4.5%. So, yeah, what was looking like the trend was going to maybe start to firm up a little bit just completely fell apart. Actually, we were looking for an up move early in the week. That did happen on Monday. I think I had overlooked that there was a CPI release on Tuesday, and once that came in hot on Tuesday morning, we got a gigantic down day that day, and then the rest of the week sort of spent chopping lower, basically, like chopping around, but with an overall downward drift to the market. So, yeah, I guess participants are still getting caught off guard by the inflation data. The expectation was that the Fed rate hikes that had taken place thus far would be starting to dampen those inflation numbers, but really there was no change anywhere in the data. So crude oil has come down a lot as the government has released record amounts of crude from the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. But you could see everywhere that wasn't crude oil, the inflation was more or less going up. All sorts of other commodities up. And the CPI was still over 8% headline number. So that's going to put 100 basis point rate hikes in the discussion for the Fed. You're going to start to see that sort of stuff. Fed officials will start talking again in the press or whatever about that sort of thing. So, there's a lot of work to do. The market doesn't like it. We did, however, on Monday, we finally got an overbought signal. You see this September 12th on the timestamp for overbought. That was the day before the inflation data came out. So if you sort of pared back risk on this or whatever, then you more or less sidestep the downdraft in the market. And then you can sort of see that we're getting close to oversold again, but not quite. Actually, it's been quite a while since we hadn't oversold. It hasn't been since May. Most likely we will get an oversold signal out of this down move at some point. So probably this week that would happen if there's another move down. If there's retracement up, likely we'll see another move back down there to get that signal. Anyway, for the mega cap stocks that are basically our leaders for the market always, they had a bad week. Facebook, Meta, whatever you call it, down 13%, new 52-week lows. It's kind of approaching the COVID lows from a couple years ago, which I don't think anyone would have really imagined even, like 18 months ago or something. This stock was trading, I don't know, what was it trading? Did it hit 400? I forget, but well into the 300s. Now it's back down around 140, 150, somewhere in there. Yeah, bad trend for Meta. Nvidia, another bad week, down 8%. Microsoft 7, Amazon 7, Google 7. Okay, so there's like broad liquidation in these gigantic companies. It's not providing any strength to the market. Tesla somehow managed a 1% up week, and Netflix was up 2.7%. So you can say that they bucked the trend, but um, overall, bad week, down 5.5% for these overall. That was kind of in line with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was 5.7%, basically the same thing. Industry wise, if we want to look at our breadth, broad selling everywhere. The big loser, okay, tech was down 5.6. Okay, services, industrials down 6%, and consumer down 5.4. So everything, okay, tech, services, industrials, healthcare, consumer, all down over 5%, basically. And it wasn't like investors were hiding anywhere else. They were selling other stuff too, but just not as hard as those bigger losers. Basic materials down. I mean, crude had another fractionally down week this week, but yeah, like we had said before, that trend got totally busted. Nothing on the upside for subsectors, so no rotation really anywhere. On the downside, we have a lot of, this is pretty broad, but overall we've got 25, 50, 75. We've got 99 sectors down 5% or more, which historically just are, heuristically, this sort of happens around interim bottoms, sort of. But I'd like to see an oversold signal come from Stocklabs first before really trying to play much on the long side. So on the screener, if we jump in here to check out breadth by market cap, 1 to 5 billion was down 3%. Actually, not that bad considering what the indices were doing. 5 to 10 billion, down 4.7%, kind of more like that market perform area. 10 to 50 billion, down 4.7% also. 50 to 100 billion, down 4.3%. And the TerraCaps, 100 billion plus, down 3.93%, which is a little bit better than indices overall. So maybe there were, outside of the tech leadership, maybe there was maybe a little bit of strength somewhere offsetting those big losers. But for the most part, there was selling everywhere. Down 4 to 5% everywhere in here, no matter where no matter what sort of quintile of market caps we're looking at. If we look at intelligence for this week, what do we have? Block. I don't know what this is. It says something about data sharing, but I'm assuming that it is somehow related to blockchain, but I don't know. Okay, what is this? Energy MLP, ultra short Qs. Okay, so Stocklabs likes continuation of downside on the Qs, likes oil for a bounce. Okay, energy again, energy, more energy, or oil. oil, oil. So it only likes oil and energy for a bounce. It likes downside for the Qs. If we reverse this, what do we have on the downside? Retail. Okay, downside for VIX. Internet stocks. Dow Internet is bearish. So it kind of matches up with the NASDAQ. Clean energy, bearish. And these inverse crude ETFs are bearish, so that's also bullish energy. Okay, so maybe on the long side, you consider energy. Everything else you kind of leave alone. NASDAQ, short NASDAQ can be a hedge against any longs that you have. But yeah, overall, I think, kind of waiting for an oversold signal to hit here. We're close on the 3-month algo, not really that close on the 6 or 12-month algo, but yeah, you see the overbought signal basically timed the market perfectly for a flush. Can't really ask for anything better than that as far as knowing when to sort of peel back a little bit or go short or whatever, however you're trading. So for this week, yeah, retracements up. You can probably short them until we actually lock in an oversold signal on the market, and then from there, we can think about playing a bigger bounce. But kind of coming into the end of the month, the end-ish of the month, we're through option expiration, so maybe there won't be as much chicanery with how the market is trading day to day, but yeah, it hasn't been a good month so far. Hasn't been a good month. I mean, I know it started out like, looked like the September seasonality wasn't going to play out with it being a lackluster month, but then everything sort of broke down and has gone the other way now. So yeah, that does seem to be playing out a little closer to expectations than what some contrarians were probably hoping for. So yeah, CPI came in hot, basically ruined the market for the week. And we'll be looking for some oversold signals from Stocklabs. I mean, the overbought signal worked great. And yeah, just manage some risk out there. Don't do anything stupid. And talk to you again next week. Bye.